Look, it's hard to evaluate Portland, especially this early in the season. They have a new manager. They've implemented some new pieces into this team as well. But like looking at this as a Union fan, it is extremely frustrating because every single year these guys mean business. They have been a consistently good team since coming into the MLS. And if they have a down year, you best believe that ownership will do what it takes to get back into the promised land or at least make the playoffs. They just fired Gio Savarese, who was there for God knows how long. Or he didn't win MLS Cup, but took him MLS Cup. But you guys get the picture. Like this, like they mean business, and every single year, like they find a way to build around guys like Diego Chara, Dairon Asprilla también. I said it también. But that's just kind of the point. Like, look at the all season you just talked about. Maxime Crépeau, bringing in Vander, bringing in Anthony. The new signing here today, Jonathan Rodriguez, who I just saw. In 8 seasons, 108 goals and 27 assists and 277 appearances. For a club like Club America, this is the Yankees of North America. So the frustrating part is Portland is by far a way smaller market, a way smaller sports market, and yet these guys are finding ways to put a competitive team, not having to go into Europe and having to try to convince the likes of Messi or Ibrahimovic. They have a system in place. They're spending money. Like bringing in Maxime Crépeau from LAFC was not cheap because Crépeau was probably going to go to Europe, and so they were able to get him. So that's dough that they had to spend. But this is like the frustrating part about the Union. Where is the same ambition? You obviously know how to build a good team. But you just need to spend a little bit more money. And so this is where the frustrating part is. And of course, like you just said, they just lost to Houston. That's a tough one. And Houston, as we all know, is going to be a good team this year. They make a big signing. They get a guy who knows how to score a couple goals.
You lose to Houston 1-0 in a game that they actually should have won.
Yeah.
And they did outplay Houston in that game. And that was truly the epitome of like, this is soccer. Sometimes you're the better team. Sometimes you outplay your opponent and it's just not your day and you lose. I don't mind that early in the season because, as you mentioned, then they turned around and you bring in a 30-year-old veteran that's got international experience at one of the highest levels with a very recognizable Liga MX club and a talented club that you can now add into your system. That is how you respond, by making major moves. You've got, across their roster, 5 or 6 guys that have already contributed with goals, led by Anthony, who's got 3 goals on the season and an assist so far in MLS play. They've got Evander, Moreno, Williamson, Asprilla. They've got contributors. Options. They've got contributors, and it's more than just one person that's able to help them score goals. So Portland, this is a scary game, to be honest. I'm very nervous because we've been holding our breath for the last, couple of weeks, and you shouldn't start the season that way. It's kind of like if you guys have ever run in like a race, for example, or you start a game. I used to have some times where I start out a soccer game in the first couple minutes, I'm like, I'm tired. Like the game just started. Why am I tired now? I'm expected to play the full 90 minutes and I'm already tired. And you have to got to find a way to catch my breath. That's the Union right now. It's like, why are we tired already? The season just began. How do we catch our breath, though? How do they make this adjustment to reset? Because this right now doesn't seem like a practical way to run it through the entire season, given the fact that they definitely have a lot of pressure being put on these guys. And they already look gassed. They already look tired.
But we're going to have to deal with the lack of depth here, and that's the scary part about it. There was at one point, going out to the West as a Union fan scared the crap out of me. It's gotten better, but it's still not easy going over there. The travel, the time difference, like we talk about, jet lag is a real thing. It is not easy. It's like the one thing, everyone likes to come at the MLS, and these players like to come at the quality. But when you have to consider, traveling Philly to Portland, that's a long ass trip. It's like Madrid to London, I guess. I don't even know.
So I did that flight when we played in Portland. It was about a 6-7 hour flight. Yeah. And of course you're losing 3 hours. I would say it was 6 hours if I remember. That was a long time ago now, but I know California is 5 hours. It was 6 hours. But as you mentioned, it's a whole different everything. Time zone. Portland's a different, the air quality, it's weird. Being in the West Coast, being on the West Coast is tough. I know, Kyle, you're saying save a buck like Jay Sugarman.
Eat bagels and go.
Bagels and go. That should be our new tagline. Listen, it's just frustrating because I just feel like every game now for the Union has been something different as a reason why we're just happy with the result.
Yeah.
No Julian Carranza, so at least they got the tie. They're tired from CONCACAF Champions Cup, so at least they got the tie. Like, that's not good enough, though. Like, this weekend, the thing is going to be, they were missing 8 guys for the international break, so at least they blank. That's not enough. You are in season. These aren't scrimmages. These are regular season games that you're now just happy to just walk away from. And you're leaving points on the table. And Chicago, Sporting Kansas City, Austin, literally points on the table that you should be able to walk away with 3 from. So I just feel like, when are we going to get to a point with the Union that there's no excuses, there's no at least in justification. They go out, they win, and that's it.
Yeah.
Or if they go out and lose or tie, you can just say, like, I wouldn't mind a hard fought, they play well, and they lose 1-0, 2-1. At least it's like exciting, but these games have been frustrating. It's been exhausting. It's been boring at times. It hasn't been good soccer. They're defending for their lives, which is why someone like Damian Lowe and Nate Harry, you're seeing, even Kai Wagner at times, they're just kind of going through the motions. I think it's a lot, Andre. I think it's a lot on them right now. So I'm a little frustrated by the fact that here we are. Again, this is only game 4 since Seattle didn't happen. Game 4 of another regular season game that they should be able to play. There's not be any weather issues, where it's like, we already had the excuses set up. It's the international break. They're missing 8 players. So regardless what happens, it's not their full team. Not an excuse, because you know what?
No.
Other teams have the international break affecting them too, and we'll see how their results go. I mean, looking across the league, I know Orlando's missing a lot of players too.
They do have a lot of
They're going to have a lot of, different guys that are out. Duncan McGuire being one of them. Wilder Cartagena is another one that's out. They've got like 7 or 8. The Red Bulls are also missing a lot of guys. Corey Burke's going to be out. Daniel Edelman, Carlos Coronel. Everybody's missing players. Inter Miami, obviously missing players for sure. So I am curious to see, though, as we know, like Messi's dealing with a hamstring injury, and they're not going to have Federico Redondo and David Ruiz and Diego Gomez. As every team is missing players, Atlanta, Inter Miami, the Union, Red Bulls, who actually goes on and plays. Vancouver, there's like a lot of things going on with every team right now.
Yeah.
But that can't be an excuse.
It cannot. No, absolutely, it cannot there. So if I could just bring a little optimism to everyone.
Okay, I like it.
So
spin it.
The last time we played in Portland was the MLS Cup year. And it was a weird, wacky game. By the way, it's going to be a late night. So late night Major League Soccer, anything can really happen here. But we went into Portland in a place I don't think we ever won before, and we got the win. Julian Carranza, unfortunately, did get a card, which got him suspended for the following match, which gave us an epic gym clip that I'll always remember. But that, to me, that gives me the optimism that anything can happen here. And that was a game I remember vividly, because I did not feel comfortable going into the game, because we were in a rough spot leading up to that point, too. And it did not seem like it was going to be a win, but they found a way to get the win. So that's going to be my positivity for everyone out there, that it can be done. But obviously, you got to do your work out here in Portland, and obviously Portland are going to be hungry coming off of that Houston match, so it's going to be very interesting. But there is some optimism here, Renee.
There is, and I hate to squander your optimism, but I didn't realize this. I was just looking
oh boy,
at the stats because I was curious. I was looking, like, I know who scored this season in the MLS. I'm not talking about Julian Carranza's hat trick and against Peace and everything. In the MLS, there's only been 3 players that have scored for the Union. I didn't realize that, because Daniel Gazdag's goal against Austin was his first since opening day against Chicago. So he's got 2. Mikel Ua actually has 2. And then Ali Bedoya obviously had that late game heroics of scoring the equalizer against Sporting Kansas City. And so when I was on the website, it was like leading scores. And when you look here, it's like Marcus Anderson, 0. I never, and even the assists are the same thing. There's only 2 guys that have assists. So Anderson and Ty Baribo are listed on the top assist holders.
That's not good.
Because there's nobody else. So it's like Jose Martinez and Quinn Sullivan are the lone ones that actually are in the books for assists. It's just, it's the same stuff that we've talked about time and time again, unfortunately. But I will say, hopefully, this is maybe the wake-up call needed, that they need to add some more depth. They need to add veterans. They need to add pieces. And we just saw Portland do it. It's possible. It's possible to spend money. It's possible to bring in a player that's going to have the opportunity to help now And they need somebody. They need some fresh legs. They need a fresh voice. They need some change, because this group right now, 3 games in, going into game number 4 of the MLS specifically, it's not encouraging. That's for sure.